We open on the dim cabin of a Boeing 787, cruising at 38,000 feet somewhere over the Pacific Ocean. It's the middle of the night, that strange hour when time seems to lose all meaning at altitude. The cabin lights are dimmed to a soft blue, and most passengers are sleeping under their thin airline blankets. Camera slowly pans down the aisle. Emma Thompson has been a flight attendant for 12 years. She knows every creak of the cabin, every hum of the engines, the particular way shadows play across the ceiling during these overnight flights. Tonight is her fourth Tokyo route this month, a 14-hour journey she could practically navigate blindfolded. Close up on Emma's face as she checks her watch, 3:27 a.m. We see her methodically working her way through the cabin, checking on sleeping passengers, adjusting blankets that have slipped off shoulders. Her movements are practiced, almost automatic. The isolation of these night shifts has become almost meditative, a dance between service and silence. Camera follows behind Emma as she walks. That's when it happens. That's when it happens. A sensation so sudden and distinct it stops her mid-step. Fingers, ice cold and unmistakably real, wrapping around her right shoulder. The touch is gentle but deliberate, like someone trying to get her attention. Her training kicks in. She's expecting to see a passenger needing assistance, maybe one of her colleagues. But the space behind her is empty. Just the gentle curve of the cabin wall and the emergency exit signs casting their perpetual red glow. Show empty aisle from Emma's POV. She stands there for a moment, hand unconsciously rubbing her shoulder where the phantom touch lingered. The rational part of her mind cycles through explanations. A draft from the air conditioning, fatigue playing tricks, the natural disorientation that comes from crossing too many time zones. Slow pan across sleeping passengers. Emma continues her rounds. But something has shifted. The familiar cabin feels different now, as if the space itself has become slightly distorted. The shadows in the corners seem deeper, the distance between rows somehow longer than before. Close-up on overhead buttons being pressed. 20 minutes later, call buttons start chiming. First one, then another, then 3 more in quick succession. As Emma responds to each one, she finds confused passengers with the same story. They saw her standing in the aisle, having an animated conversation with someone who wasn't there. Interview-style shots of passengers speaking quietly.
You were nodding and smiling. I thought maybe you were using those new wireless earpieces, but then you reached out to shake hands with, well, with nothing.
In the confined space of the kitchen area, Emma checks her reflection in the metallic surface of a cabinet. Her uniform is pristine, her hands steady, but her eyes betray a growing unease. The flight radar shows another 6 hours until landing. Show phone screen with messages.
Having a strange night? Can you cover my next service round?
But before the message sends, the screen glitches, showing a brief reflection of someone standing behind her, a figure in what looks like an old-style flight attendant uniform from decades past. Quick turn, empty galley. The galley is empty when she spins around, but the air feels thick, almost electric. The temperature drops suddenly, her breath visible for just a moment before the climate control compensates. Inside, Emma begins to question everything she knows about reality at 38,000 feet. As she prepares for the breakfast service, her hands shake slightly. The touch on her shoulder comes again, this time accompanied by a whisper she can't quite make out. The voice sounds like it's coming through water, or perhaps through decades of time. The cabin lights gradually brighten, simulating dawn, though outside the windows it's still pitch black. As other passengers begin to stir, Emma catches glimpses of movement in her peripheral vision. A uniform here, a flash of movement there, always just out of sight. During the breakfast service, she notices something on the passenger manifest. A photograph from a 1972 crash investigation report, showing a flight attendant who looks remarkably like herself. The name tag reads, Emma Thompson. As the wheels touch down in Tokyo, Emma's phone finally sends that delayed text message.
What do you mean? You've been chatting with Sarah all night. The crew transfer from the 72 flight? She said you two really hit it off.